Hi, welcome to lecture 1 of our SOLIDWORKS tutorial series. Today we will be diving into tool sketching, the very foundation of creating any 3D model. By the end of this lecture, you will have a solid understanding of the basic sketching tools and techniques in SOLIDWORKS. So let's start by opening a new part in SOLIDWORKS. So by clicking on the part here in a new ribbon, we will enter a part editing environment. To change the units and set the units, we will click on the right bottom tab here. By clicking on it, we get to see there are 4 types of basic unit set. That we can say they are templates which is already default. That are inches, millimeter, centimeter and meter. Usually they are used during the sketching. But we can change it to any dimension during the design. When we click on adding document setting, we get to see custom, in which we can change the length to any. We can change everything according to our requirement, but currently most used are already given here. So by clicking on mmgs, I will click OK. So I have set our units to millimeters. So typically, to start sketch, we have to select one of the planes, that is front plane, top plane and right plane. I am going to select all of them and I want to see them together. Then I will right click and click on the I button. And now these all 3 planes are shown here. So it depends which plane to use on the drawing. Currently I am going to use the front top plane. By clicking on a top plane, I get here the sketch action here. By clicking on the sketch, we have entered the sketch editing environment. So now I am going to hide these planes by right clicking and selecting and right clicking and clicking on the I button. When we hold the mouse on that button, we get to see their name. So like this, I have hold now, it is showing that it is hide icon. So by clicking on it, planes are hide now. Okay. Now in sketch section, we automatically enter the sketch section. As we can see here, left here is edit. To exit the sketch, we will click here. To give dimension, we will click here. This is basically a smart dimension. It automatically detects whether to give it a line, radius and diameter. But if we want to give dimension manually, then we can select also here from here. So in sketch, there are basically 4 main things. First is line, second is rectangle, third is circle and fourth is arc. These 4 are mostly used during the sketching process and they are most common and very easy to use. Let's move toward the next section, that is modifying section, which consists of trimming entities, convert entities and offset entities. Trim entities means we can trim the entity as shown here in the demonstration from the SOLIDWORKS default. The lines are being trimmed which are outside. And in convert entities, we can convert entities. It is more understanding in a practical way when we will doing example. Same for the offset entities. Then mirror entities, linear sketch and display relations, repair sketch. These all are not very useful. So let's start with the line tool. You can find it here on the toolbar. Click to start your line. Drag it out and click again to place the endpoint. That means click on anywhere you want to start line and click on the any other point and it will become a line. If you want to straight line, SOLIDWORKS helps us by giving here a minus symbol, and if you want a straight line, SOLIDWORKS helps in giving us a straight line. Here in the yellow section we can see that. So randomly I again clicked and now we have got a line. I will press escape key. Now we have a line here. Before that, let me do some setting. In setting it is usually recommended according to a person's need, but I prefer enabling the numeric input on entity creation. That means before that we didn't have an option to apply dimension here. Now we can enter dimension without clicking on the second point. Suppose I want a 50 line, I will enter 50 and press enter. Now I have a 50 line. So this is what line tool can be used. Now let's move to the circle tool. Click on the center, so on the circle in the toolbar, and click at anywhere, and we will get a circle. So it is asking for a diameter. If I don't want a diameter, I want to put randomly, then I will again click and we will have a circle of random diameter. You can adjust this circle later with dimensions. There is another type of circle which is a 3-point circle. By clicking 1, 2 and 3 we get a rectangle also, circle also here. Now next is a rectangle tool. For rectangles you have a couple of options. We will start with a corner rectangle, which is drawn by clicking on the opposite corners. To view the other rectangles, click on this arrow option and we will get here center rectangle, 3-point rectangle, 3-point center rectangle, parallelogram. So we will start with corner rectangle. By clicking on the corner rectangle, we have to click 2 times to get a rectangle. 1 point will start the rectangle from left edge, as we can see here, and the second point will complete the triangle rectangle. So let's try the center rectangle. Center rectangle means we will, like circle, when we click here we get the rectangle, and by second clicking we get a rectangle. 3-point corner rectangle. 1, I want to let's do some tilting. 2nd and 3. Here we got a rectangle. 4. Now first I will select center, then let's take tilt, and just like this we get a rectangle. And parallelogram, we will select 3 edges. To go again, come to the front plane, I will click here and click on the front tab. Sorry, we have selected a top plane, then I will select top. For parallelogram, I will click here 1 time, 2 time and 3 time. Now we have got the parallelogram. So next is the Polygon tool. The Polygon tool allows you to create shapes with more than 4 sides. Click on the Polygon tool and we get an option here in the left dialog box of parameters, that is the number of lines here. If we set it to 3, we get a triangle, but if we set it to 4, it is changed into, sorry, let me change this to top plane again. It will change into 4 side, means it will become a square. Then selecting to 5 will turn it to a different shape, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it is a very handy tool, Polygon. And the next is the arc tool. There are 3 arcs, that is center point arc, tangent arc and 3-point arc. The most common used is 3-point arc. Starting with a 3-point arc, I will select 1 point, second point, and I will select the center midpoint of the arc will become this. So by these 3 points we get a very good arc. We can change the arc type by clicking on here and here also, but let's start clicking the second arc. By press escape key, I will again select 3-point arc and I will change the type here from tangent arc. Tangent arc means the where point I will start the arc will be tangent to the previous line. Suppose I will select here, then the next arc will be tangent to previous, no matter how where I end the second point. So as you can see, it is showing a tangent symbol here. So now last is standard point arc. We will select first center and we will select some point and then we can drag up to where we want. So major used arc here is 3-point arc. Next is sketch relations and constraints topic. Sketch relations are essential for keeping your sketch organized and stable. For example, you can make two lines parallel or perpendicular. So to elaborate, I will exit the sketch and I will again select top plane and click on sketch, and I will now take two lines, one line here, and I will double tap and it will exit. Now I will again select again another line and I will make it tilt. So the relations here is very handy. If I select both, in the left dialog box I get a relation option and it's showing that we can add horizontal, vertical, collinear, perpendicular, parallel. I will tell you one by one of this relation here of lines, two lines, sorry. So by clicking on parallel, this both line will be parallel. For example, by clicking, we can see now the both line are parallel. Since one line is also horizontal, if I click on the horizontal and I will click on tab delete button, now both lines have become blue and now are parallel. So if I drag it down, the other line also come drag down because these are parallel. Secondly, if I delete this relation and I will again select both lines and I select collinear. Collinear means line on the same plane. So by clicking on collinear, both lines become one. However, there are two lines. Since like this, there are two endpoints here. So again I will click on the line and I get here a collinear relation added. I will click on it and press delete. Now we again have two separate lines. Here the lines are not being separated because coincident relation have also been added. I will also delete the coincident relation and I will click on the endpoint and drag it up. We now have two separate lines. So I want to make sure that the end point of the two lines is collinear. So there are two ways to do so. I will one way is simple without using any tough relation. I will click on the one endpoint and the second endpoint and I will click on that line. I will press on make vertical and I will then delete the line. Now these are collinear and on one plane. But if I drag this again forward, the other line doesn't move forward. To make sure the line move forward, I will click on endpoint of one line and second endpoint of other line and I will click on vertical. Now this relation shows that if I drag this point backwards, the other line also move backward, as you can see here. And I will add the relation here also by clicking on two endpoints and clicking on vertical. The relation is added. Since the origin point and the one point of one line is having coincident mate, this line is not moving. By clicking on the coincident mate and clicking on delete, now it can move freely. So next is I will tell you how to make sure that these sketches are fully defined. So currently the lines color are blue and and in bottom tab we can also see that under define is being shown here. To make sure they are fully defined, their lines color will change black, and the points ending points color will turn to black also. Fully defined means that the every degree of freedom is being restricted of line. Since line is currently can move upward, downward, backward, forward, so I will firstly I will restrict its upward and downward motion by clicking on the horizontal tab. It depends on the requirement, but currently I am just suggesting what to do. And I will, let's say these both lines are being parallel, and let's say the both lines have a distance of 50 mm. Since the vertical relations has already been added and the degree of freedoms are all closed, now the only ending points are blue, which means that I haven't defined the length of the line. So again, clicking on this smart dimension and clicking on the line, I will write the dimension, suppose 100. Now this degree of freedom is also restricted. Now I have the length of the line, I have the distance between the two lines, I have the vertical relations of the line, I have made the one line horizontal, and now we can also see in the bottom that it is fully defined now. So this is what a relation constraints means. It is very handy when doing designing. And now let's move toward the, so this is all about today lectures. Thank you for watching this video, and in the next lecture we will discuss what the trim entities, convert, offset, a mirror, linear pattern, move patterns, etc. are used, and we will also see the relations of circle. So thank you so much for today.